This is why U.S. counters China's global influence in South China Sea. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our channel, where we delve into the fascinating world of geopolitics and international affairs. In today's video, we are diving deep into a topic that has been making waves across the globe: the intense rivalry between the United States and China in the South China Sea. It's a battle for power, influence, and control, with far-reaching implications for the global order. From military tensions to economic competition, the strategic maneuvering in this vast maritime expanse has captured the attention of the world. So why is the United States countering China's global influence in the South China Sea? Join us as we uncover the key reasons behind this complex and high-stakes game. On one hand, China claims most of the sea as its own. But on the other hand, the U.S. sees this claim as a threat to the region's security. But why is this region so important? We'll examine the balance of power dynamics and the U.S.'s determination to assert its own influence in the region amidst China's rising clout. But there's more at stake here than just resources, as the South China Sea is a vital area for naval operations within the region in the event of military conflict. With tensions escalating, the risk of a major world conflict is becoming a real possibility. It's crucial to address this situation in the South China Sea in order to prevent this from happening. So buckle up and get ready for an exhilarating journey into the hearts of this geopolitical battleground. Join us as we uncover the reasons behind the United States countering China's global influence in the South China Sea, and gain a deeper understanding of the high-stakes game unfolding in one of the world's most contested regions. Number 1. U.S. national security. National security interests are always at the forefront of any country's strategic thinking. And for the United States, the South China Sea is a critical region that plays a pivotal role in its national security strategy in the Indo-Pacific region. The United States recognizes the importance of maintaining regional stability and preventing any potential threats to its national security interests. With China's increasing assertiveness in the South China Sea, the United States sees the need to protect its security and that of its allies in the region. This has led to an increase in U.S. military presence and involvement in the region as it seeks to counter China's growing influence and safeguard its own interests. From freedom of navigation operations to military exercises with allies and partners, the United States is determined to maintain its strategic position in the South China Sea. But it's not just about military power. The South China Sea is also home to vast resources of oil and gas, making it a vital economic resource for the region and the world. With China seeking to assert its control over these resources, the United States sees the need to protect its economic interests as well. So it's not hard to see why protecting national security interests in the South China Sea is a top priority for the United States. It's a complex and high-stakes game with far-reaching implications for the global order, and we'll continue to keep you updated as the story unfolds. Number 2. U.S. economic interests. The second reason is about protecting U.S. economic interests in the South China Sea. The South China Sea is a resource-rich area that contains significant oil and gas reserves, as well as important fisheries and shipping lanes. The United States has a strategic interest in protecting these resources and ensuring that they are not threatened by China's maritime claims and activities. The United States is a major player in the global energy market, and it has an interest in ensuring that the South China Sea remains open and accessible for energy exploration. China's claim to much of the South China Sea have risen concerns that it could limit access to these resources, either through military means or through economic coercion. In addition to energy resources, the South China Sea is also an important fishing ground and a major shipping lane. The United States has a stake in ensuring that these resources are not threatened by China's maritime claims and activities, which could disrupt global trade and commerce. Moreover, the United States has a strategic interest in promoting a rules-based international order in the South China Sea that respects the rights of all states, both coastal and non-coastal. The United States has criticized China's actions in the region, including its construction of artificial islands and militarization of features, as well as its rejection of an international tribunal's ruling in favor of the Philippines in 2016. By countering China's activities in the South China Sea, the United States is seeking to uphold international law and norms, which are critical for protecting U.S. economic interests in the region. Number 3. Strategic importance. Another reason why the South China Sea is strategically important for both the U.S. and China is because it provides a gateway for China's nuclear ballistic missile submarines, or SSBNs, to enter the Western Pacific Ocean. The SSBNs are a key component of China's nuclear deterrent strategy against the United States. China's nuclear submarines carry ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads that can strike targets across the globe, including the United States. In order to maintain a credible nuclear deterrence posture, China needs to ensure that its SSBNs can operate safely and effectively in the Western Pacific. The South China Sea provides a strategic location for Chinese SSBNs to operate from, as it is close to important targets and allows for easy access to the open ocean. The South China Sea also provides strategic depth for China's SSBNs. The SSBNs can use the underwater topography of the region to remain hidden from U.S. anti-submarine warfare, or ASW assets, which include aircraft, ships, and submarines. This makes it more difficult for the U.S. to track and target Chinese SSBNs, which enhances China's nuclear deterrence capabilities. That is not all. The South China Sea allows China to maintain a strategic buffer zone between its coast and potential adversaries, such as the United States. By having its SSBNs operate in the South China Sea, China can deter U.S. military action in the region and signal its ability to strike back if necessary. Number 4. Empowering allies. The United States has several strong security alliances with countries in the region, including Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines. These countries have territorial disputes with China in the South China Sea, and they rely on the United States for security and protection. Japan, for example, has a dispute with China over the Senkaku Diaoyu Islands, which are located in the East China Sea, but are also part of the larger geopolitical struggle for influence in the region. Japan is also concerned about China's growing military presence in the South China Sea, which could threaten Japan's own security. South Korea is also concerned about China's activities in the region, particularly in support for North Korea. China is North Korea's largest trading partner and has been criticized for not doing enough to curb North Korea's nuclear program. South Korea also relies on the United States for its security and protection, particularly given the ongoing tension with North Korea. The Philippines has a dispute with China over Scarborough Shoal and several other islands and reefs in the South China Sea. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled in favor of the Philippines and rejected China's claim to much of the South China Sea, but China has continued to ignore the ruling. The Philippines has turned to the United States for support and protection in its territorial disputes with China. Number 5. Countering China's influence. Point number 5 is about countering China's growing influence in the South China Sea. The United States sees China's increasing assertiveness in the region as a challenge to its own position as a global superpower and a threat to the stability and security of the region. China's claims to much of the South China Sea, which are based on historical maps and ancient records, are disputed by several other countries in the region, including the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. China has also been building artificial islands, deploying military assets, and expanding its presence in the region, which has raised concerns about its intentions and motives. The United States has criticized China's actions in the South China Sea and has sought to counter its growing influence in the region. The U.S. has conducted freedom of navigation operations, which involve sending naval vessels and aircraft through disputed waters and airspace to challenge China's excessive maritime claims and demonstrate its commitment to upholding the rules-based international order. The U.S. has also provided military and economic assistance to countries in the region, including Vietnam and the Philippines, to help them build up their capabilities and resist China's pressure. The U.S. has also sought to strengthen its partnerships with other countries in the region, including Japan, South Korea, and Australia, to coordinate their responses to China's activities in the South China Sea. Number 6. Balance of power. The next reason is about maintaining the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region. The United States has been a dominant military power in the region for decades and has used this position to project its influence and promote its interests. With China's increasing military capabilities and growing influence in the region, the U.S. sees its position of dominance being challenged. The South China Sea is a crucial location for the U.S. to maintain its military presence and demonstrate its power projection capabilities. By countering China's influence in the region, the U.S. is seeking to maintain the balance of power and prevent China from becoming the dominant military power in the Indo-Pacific. The U.S. has a long-standing policy of promoting a balance of power in the region, which is meant to prevent any single country from dominating and destabilizing the region. This policy has been essential in maintaining regional peace and stability for decades. Furthermore, the U.S. sees China's actions in the South China Sea as a threat to the regional balance of power. China's military buildup and territorial claims in the region have raised concerns that it may be seeking to establish its dominance over the region. The U.S. is seeking to counter this by maintaining a strong military presence in the region and working with its allies and partners to promote a balance of power. Number 7. Exerting its dominance. For the next reason, let's dive deeper into the realm of power dynamics, where the United States takes center stage. You see, the United States, being a global superpower, views China's expanding influence as a direct challenge to its own position on the world stage. The U.S. is seeking to assert its own influence and demonstrate its commitment to maintaining its position as a global superpower. It's a clash of titans, my friends. But why does the U.S. care so much about this seemingly remote area? The U.S. has long been a major player in the region, both economically and militarily, and has a significant stake in maintaining its influence in the region. The South China Sea is an important location for the U.S. to project its influence and promote its interests in the region. Furthermore, the U.S. has a long-standing commitment to promoting democracy, human rights, and the rule of law in the region. China's growing influence in the region has raised concerns that it may seek to promote an alternative model of governance based on authoritarianism and state control. The U.S. is countering China's influence in the region to promote its own vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific region. The U.S. is also seeking to demonstrate to its allies and partners in the region that it is committed to their security and well-being. By countering China's influence in the South China Sea, the U.S. is showing its allies and partners that it is a reliable and trustworthy partner that can be counted on to stand up for their interests and defend them against external threats. Number 8. Catering to homegrown pressure. Another reason of its importance for the U.S. is about responding to domestic pressure. In recent years, there has been increasing concern among U.S. politicians, policymakers, and the public about China's actions in the South China Sea. Many Americans believe that China's territorial claims and military buildup in the region pose a threat to U.S. interests and regional stability. U.S. politicians and policymakers may also feel pressure to take a strong stance against China's actions in the South China Sea in response to the concerns of their constituents. This pressure may come from a variety of sources, including businesses, human rights groups, and national security experts, among others. By countering China's influence in the South China Sea, the U.S. is responding to this domestic pressure and seeking to demonstrate that it takes the concerns of its citizens seriously. The U.S. may also be seeking to use its response to China's actions in the region as a way to gain political support and maintain its position as a global superpower. It's important to take note that democratic pressure is not the only factor driving the U.S. response to China's actions in the South China Sea. As mentioned earlier, there are several strategic interests at play, including maintaining regional stability, protecting U.S. allies and partners, maintaining the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific, and asserting U.S. influence in the region. However, responding to domestic pressure is an important consideration for U.S. policymakers and may influence how they approach the situation in the South China Sea. It's important to note that countering China's global influence in the South China Sea is a complex and multifaceted issue that will require a coordinated and sustained effort from the U.S. and its allies and partners in the region. Success will depend on a variety of factors, including the ability of the U.S. to effectively coordinate with its allies and partners, the effectiveness of U.S. policies and initiatives, and the ability of the U.S. to respond to unforeseen challenges and developments in the region. From protecting national security interests and vital resources to promoting freedom of navigation and upholding the rules-based international order, we've uncovered the key reasons behind the U.S.'s effort to counter China's global influence in this crucial region. It's a complex and high-stakes game that has far-reaching implications for the global order, and we'll continue to keep you updated as the story unfolds. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content on international affairs and geopolitics. And as always, thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.